We'll look at the NBA title odds in just a moment with the 8 teams still remaining in this postseason, now firmly into the second round. But some news out of the association bright and early on this Thursday morning. The Charlotte Hornets have a new head coach. Charlotte has hired Charles Lee, a Boston Celtics assistant. He has been under Joe Mazzulla in Beantown for the past 2 years, has been an assistant in the association since 2014, 5 years with the Hawks, 6 years with the Bucks, and now these past 2 with the Boston Celtics. A young guy, too, only 39 years old, now the new head man for the Hornets.
All right, now let me give you some sage advice since he is younger than me. When you go down to Charlotte, make sure you rent. You're going to be fired in 2 years, but you're going to get a good paycheck, and you can probably go right back to the Celtics here because your superstar player is worried about getting complete back tattoos as opposed to being healthy and playing on the court. It's all good. I love the fact that this guy got hired on a 4-year deal because at least he'll get paid for 2 years after he gets canned through no fault of his own. Like the hire there for the coach, just don't like the spot for the coach. That's all.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what's going to happen in Charlotte. It is not the most optimistic of settings to be in. There's no future odds out for next year as we look at 2024-25 because we're still here in the 2024 NBA postseason. Again, Charles Lee these past 2 years, including this season under Joe Mazzulla in Boston, a part of this regime, or maybe just this year in Boston, but a part of this regime that now sees the Celtics as the NBA title favorites in odds on category. Again, Boston has been the NBA championship favorite for quite some time, really the entirety of the year, and with a very short price for the last 2 to 3 months. But earlier this week, for the first time, the Celtics flipping to minus money. One of my favorite things, DRS, about future odds, or really any kind of odds as you look at it, where it has the entire category of teams remaining in a league, is causation. The New York Knicks are up 2-0 in their second-round series against the Indiana Pacers. You would think the Knicks are putting on display just how good this team can be here in the most significant games of a season in the playoffs. And yet, because of now the injury uncertainty of OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson banged up last night in game number 2 against Indiana, despite the Knicks having a 2-0 series lead, the Celtics' price to win an NBA title has grown even stronger without Boston having played their second game of their second-round series just yet. Minus 135, now the number for the Celtics.
Yeah, and as each game goes here and weeks go by, that number is going to get shorter and shorter because we just anticipate the Boston Celtics getting that free ticket into the NBA Finals. Now, granted, what the Knicks are showing us right now is really good basketball. That was a Game 6er squad here. Even if Joel Embiid was hobbled, he was still out there dropping 50 points at times. That's a good series victory in 6 games. And the way this series is going with Indiana, it looks like it should be sooner than later, even though I actually think now with the injuries, that might go 7. And I think just from the betting markets, they're looking at the same things we are here. Now, hold on. Can Brunson really go every single night and give you 40 points when it feels like he's doing that? But you also saw him already get banged up. OG Anunoby, we'll see how long he's going to be out with a hamstring injury. If you play into it, hey, Zion got a hamstring injury, had to leave the ball game. He was going to get reevaluated in 3 weeks at that point. So that's sort of that timetable that you look at. You just don't have a lot of room for your depth issues for the Knicks here, and that's playing out directly because the team that's going to benefit the most at the FanDuel Sportsbook from an odds perspective going to be the Celtics because we think they're going to easily win their series now and then get a hobbled Knicks team in that Eastern Conference Finals. So I agree with it. Minus 135, yep.
And let's further that even a tad more. Entering game number 2 last night inside MSG, Boston was a minus 360 favorite of the 4 teams remaining in the East to win that conference crown. Now it's nearly an odds-on favored number of 5-1, minus 490 for Boston to win the Eastern Conference title. That is before the Celtics play their second game of their conference semifinal set against Cleveland. That is even with New York, just 2 wins away from its first conference finals since the year 2000, nearly 2.5 decades. Now you start to wonder, Donnie, what is that series outright price going to be for Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals should they get there, and we expect them to get there? Is it going to be greater than 5-1? You would think yes, at the current trajectory this Eastern Conference postseason is playing out.
And it sounds wild. Like, that should never be the case. Usually maybe round one where a 1 seed's playing an 8 seed. Hey, this should easily run that team over. But now you're taking a look at an Eastern Conference final, who a team like the New York Knicks, let's just say if it goes according to plan, OG Anunoby misses the next couple games, but he's back for that Boston series. And you say, all right, well, 5-game series in a gentleman's sweep where the Knicks got by, and you're still going to have a price point that high? Because it all is determined also about the Celtics, who are waiting on Kristaps Porzingis as well, if he comes back into the fold. There's no price that the FanDuel Sportsbook can set right now. We're not going to tell you the Boston Celtics are not the best team in the Eastern Conference. It's just willing to how much money you're willing to pay on that. Minus 490 is crazy, but as you said, we're probably looking at that even more of a price once you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if you're looking for value, is there value on 490? Probably so.
No offense to any of the 3 other remaining teams in the Eastern Conference, but nobody presents a challenge for Boston. You can clip this off and cold takes me if I am wrong, but that number is that number for a reason. And for myself that bet Boston on March 20th at a plus 220 number to win the NBA championship, starting to read the tea leaves of how the Eastern Conference postseason could shake out, I'm frankly loving what I am seeing. But that's through the Eastern Conference. I think any of the 4 teams left standing out west could present a very tough test for the Celtics in a potential NBA Finals. And right now, the favorites to win the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, into minus money for the first time this postseason at minus 115. Again, we have made our case on Oklahoma City each and every day this week ahead of game number 2 tonight in OKC against the Dallas Mavericks. That's when I would jump on this number at plus 210. I don't think it's going to get much longer than this, even if they lose a few games to Dallas in the second round series. But I think it could only grow shorter because, as Donnie and I have laid out, Oklahoma City is the number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference for a reason. And in a potential Western Conference final series, they would have home floor advantage over either the Denver Nuggets or the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, the T-Wolves seem as though they are more than likely to be there, up 2-0 over the Nuggets.
Yeah, and we also foreshadow what we're going to do in hour number 3 here, because you know I love myself some OKC Thunder at that plus 210 price. But also keep in mind, the interesting part about this, I think you could still make cases for all 4, even though it looks like the Denver Nuggets are on their way out. But the thing that's interesting about that series is they're not playing tonight as they should be. They're going to play tomorrow night. So you got a long time for the Denver Nuggets to even get that calf injury a little bit better for Jamal Murray, a chance to sit it out, get some coaching advice that might make some sense, and sort of practice a little bit more on the court. Again, the 8-1 price, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to win the series. Yeah. And still, I love that 8-1 price because it's crazy that the Nuggets have an 8-1 price right now. So looking forward to that game tomorrow. But I'm with you. The disrespect continues for OKC. I don't know what it's going to take, because I can imagine when they beat the Dallas Mavericks in the series in, let's just say, 5 games. Luka wasn't healthy, though, Ben. Come on. You can't anticipate that. And then what are we going to talk about in the next series after that? I'm with you here. OKC has been so disrespected. I've changed my opinion from loving the Timberwolves, because I actually do think the Timberwolves are the best team left in the West, to saying the prices just don't make sense for OKC. And they will have home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals if they do get there. So I'm with you on that plus 210.
The Thunder, a 5-point favorite in game number 2 tonight against the Dallas Mavericks, a minus 245 series outright favorite to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Now, to your point about Denver, again, 8-1 is a long shot at this moment. I have bet the Denver Nuggets, as I did after the opening game of the series against Minnesota, to win this set. I still have a little bit of flickering hope, if you want to call it that. What I will say, though, Donnie, what I do truly believe, it's not going to be a 4-game sweep. I don't really think it's even 5. I think the series does go 6 against Minnesota, mainly saying I think the Nuggets at least get a couple of wins to make things a tad bit more interesting, which again would shape things up very interestingly enough for a Western Conference Finals showdown.